Chapter 0, Lesson 3, Operations with Integers. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the absolute value. The absolute value is just the number of spaces that something is from 0. So if I have the absolute value, it's shown by these two tall lines that look like ones around a number, like a cage. The absolute value of 5, well, 5 is 5 spaces away from 0. The absolute value of negative 10, the number of spaces away from 0 is 10 spaces. The absolute value of 0, well, it's no spaces from 0, so it's 0. All right, if we're going to add integers together, we have two different cases that might occur. They might both have the same sign. So if I'm adding two positive integers or two negative integers, I'm just going to add their absolute value together and keep the same sign. So if they're both positive, my answer will be positive, add them together. If they're both negative, my answer is negative, and I add them together. If they have different signs, this is where it gets a little bit trickier. First thing I'm going to do is decide, do I have more positives or more negatives? Then the second thing I'm going to say is, but how many more? So I have to have more of one of them, or if they're the same, then it's 0. How many more? And then keep the sign of whichever one had that larger absolute value. Let's get some examples. 5 plus 2, positive plus positive is going to give me 5 and 2 is 7, and it stays positive. 9 plus negative 4, well, I have 9 positives and 4 negatives that I'm adding. So I'm going to say, well, do I have more positives or negatives? Well, I have more positives because I have 9. How many more do I have? I have 5 more. And since I had more positives, the absolute value of the positives was bigger, my answer stays positive. Negative 4 plus negative 8. The same sign, I'm combining them all together. I have 12 altogether, and they're both negative, so my answer stays negative. Negative 9 plus 4. Okay, similar to the one up above, but I have 9 negatives and 4 positives. So which do I have more of? I have more negatives. How many more? I have 5, and my answer is negative because I had more negatives. Okay, when we talk about subtracting integers, we're going to talk about this additive inverse. The additive inverse is just the opposite. Okay, two numbers, one positive, one negative, are additive inverses. So my subtracting rules are add the opposite. In 6th grade, we learned the zoom rule. So we add the opposite. Let's look at some examples. 6 minus 15. I'm going to do zoom. Add the opposite. So the opposite of 15 is negative 15. 6 plus negative 15. 6 positives, 15 negatives. I have more negatives. How many more? 9 more. And I have more negatives. Okay, negative 7 minus 9. Add the opposite. Negative 7 plus negative 9. I have a bunch of negatives. I have 16 of them all together, and they're all negatives. 9 minus negative 2. Add the opposite. Zoom. All I have, 9 plus 2 is 11. Negative 4 minus negative 12. Add the opposite. Negative 4 plus positive 12. 4 negatives, 12 positives. I have more positives. How many more? 8. And they're positives, so my answer is positive 8. Multiplying and dividing rules, pretty simple. Multiply, divide normally. And then if the two numbers have the same sign, I'm going to have a positive answer. The two numbers have a different sign, negative answer. Negative 4 times 7. Multiply normally. Different signs, my answer is negative. Negative 3 times negative 8. Multiply normally, 24. They have the same sign, so positive answer. Negative 25 divided by 5. Divide normally and get 5. One's negative, one's positive, so my answer is negative. Negative 30 divided by negative 3. Divide normally, get 10. I have two numbers with the same sign, so my answer is positive 10.